Okay. So today's topic is IP addresses and subnetting. Okay. So IP addresses are nothing but the internet protocol address. Like we have our own address, the computer will also have their own address. If I talk about addresses in the computer, there are two types of addresses. One is physical address, another one is logical address. This physical address is then, this is the address given by a manufacturer. Means the computer manufacturer will give an address to a computer hardware, okay, and that address is unique in the globe. In the entire world, no other device will have the same address. It is unique in nature, okay, and this physical address we will also call it as a MAC address. Okay, MAC means it is media access control address, MAC address, and this MAC ID will be resides in a device called network interface card. Where it will be reside? It will reside in the network interface card. In the NIC card of the computer, this physical address or the MAC address will be resided, and this NIC card address or the MAC address will be of 12 numbers. See here, will be of 12 numbers. It is a combination of alphabets and numerical values. See D8, 3B, BF, 33, CE, 12. If you count, it is 6 digits. It is the alpha numerical value, and this is unique in nature. That is called as physical address. If you want to change the physical address of a computer, you can change the NIC card address. You can, if you change the network interface card, the address, physical address will be changed. And if you sometimes you may have multiple network interface card in a computer, then the computer will have multiple physical address. Let me go to this computer. If I go to my computer and you see ncp.cpl, if you type, you see all the network interface cards. See, I have about how many? 8 network interface cards in my computer. And if you check the MAC address, like you have a command called ipconfig/all. ipconfig is a command to check the IP address, and the /all switch is there that will give you more information. Okay, see here, if you simply put ipconfig, you will only see the addresses. See what is the logical link address, what is IP address for subnet mask default gateway. But if you mention ipconfig/all, what you get? You get more information. See, you are only getting 3 lines previously, but now you are getting multiple lines for each and every LAN card or the network interface card. You see here, everything has got a different MAC ID. Let me go here. See here, this is one of the MAC address. See, this is one of the network interface card, which is my Ethernet adapter, VMware network adapter, VMnet1. See, that has got a different MAC address, physical address. See, 005056, and if you see 005056, C 00008, but here 01, difference is there. Okay, and similarly 01 on the top, 08 in the below, and you see 02 is here. 01, 08, 02 on the top, see B6 here. Correct, na? Like that, if you have multiple network interface card, you will have multiple MAC address or the physical address of the computer. Okay, then that's it about the physical address. Now we predominantly we learn more about the logical address. The logical address are nothing but your internet protocol addresses. The logical addresses are nothing but your internet protocol addresses, okay, or internet protocol we call it as. So this logical address will be keep on changing. Say for example, if I look at a problem, the way of resolving the problem is relative. Means you look at a problem and the resolution that comes to your mind will be different. Logic, that depends on your logic. Maybe you will put a different logic to resolve an issue, and maybe I put a different logic to resolve an issue. So logic means that keeps on changing from person to person. Logic cannot be the same. Correct, right? So similarly, this logical address will be keep on changing from network to network. Means today you are connected to your laptop with your broadband. If you go to the command prompt and type ipconfig, you get a different IP address. You disconnect your broadband, turn on your mobile hotspot, and then you see you will get a different IP address. You go to the office, you connect your Wi-Fi and check, you will get a different IP address. Means this logical address will be keep on changing from network to network. Like everywhere you have two addresses. One is your mailing address, another one is your permanent address. So the permanent address means it's a physical address. That is physical. You have your own house, you have your parents, everybody is there. You have your, all the relatives, everybody is there. Maybe. But logic means it is your current address. The current address can be changed. When you vacate the house or when you change the house, the address will also be changed. You go to the other office and you will get the current address changed. Correct? That is called as logical address. Clear? Any question here?
No, sir.
Okay.
Clear,
So,
sir.
thank you. So now this IP address, now we will further classify it. I mean, we will study more about the IP address because this is very, very important to continue our journey in the IT. Okay. So this IP address further gets classified into two versions. Okay. IPv4 and IP version 6. So we have two classes of IP addresses. Okay, these are the classes, not the classes, versions. This is the version. Okay, this is also a version. So version 4 and version 6. So IP gets classified into two versions based on the usage. Then you may ask a question, sir, why do we need two versions of the IP addresses? So we need two versions of the IP addresses because the in the future the rate of the IT grows now. See, when you look at about 10 years back, if you want to see a mobile phone, probably one mobile phone at one home was there. Correct, na? But nowadays everything is smart. Even a baby also has got a smart gadget. Maybe a tablet it has got. Correct, right? Or maybe any kind of smart devices it will be having. And every person has got three mobiles, personal usage, official usage, and any other extra deals also on mobile phone will be there. And if you go to home, you have your smart TV, smart cameras, smart CCTV, smart fans, smart cooker. Everywhere it is smart, smart, smart. Smart means what? It will have the internet connection. When it is having the internet connection, it should have an IP address. So that is the reason if you see the rate of consumption of the IT products or the smart products in the future, this IP version 4 will be exhausted. This IPv4 is a very limited numbers. Okay, if you calculate uh, the 32-bit of this thing, right, you will have very limited, around 6 billion some IP addresses are there. Okay, I'll show you that. So if you go in this space, right, in the future we will end up with IP version 4 just to avoid or just to keep the IP address reserved for the future generation. We have created IP version 6, but in the current market we will only deal about the IP version 4 only. Now let us understand how it is different. Okay, so this IP version 4 is there now. It is a 32-bit numerical value. IP address will be written like it's a 32-bit numerical value. IP version is there now 6. It is a 128-bit. It is not numerical. It is numerical, and it is hexa numerical and alphabets also there. Alphabets also there. I'll show you that. Okay, if you see here, if you go to the command prompt and if you try to check the IP address of a domain called facebook.com domain IP address, if you look at, it will give you two IP addresses. See, the IP address of the facebook.com, the IP version 6 is this one, 2A03 colon 2880 colon F185 colon 85 colon face colon B00C colon 0 colon 225 DE. This is the biggest number. Okay. So if you look at the IP version 4, see, this is your IP version 4. See, 157.240.190.35. Okay. That is the reason, that is the difference. This is a 128 bit, it has got alphabets and numerical value. But if you look at the IP version 4, it has got only the numerical value, and it has got 4 octets. See, 4 4 4 4, total 4 dots are there, 3 dots and 4 numbers are there, correct na? This is called as 32 bit. I'll show you what is the 32 bit in some time. This is, we are not studying about the IP version 6 because it is not yet presently used in the market predominantly. Only the big gains like Facebook, Meta, Microsoft, they are using it. Actually not all are using the IP version 6. So with that assumption, we'll go back here. Understand, will come back here. Okay, so 32-bit numerical value, IP version 4, and it is a very limited number, and it will get exhausted in the future. That is the reason we are going to IP version 6, which is 128-bit number. It has got alphabets and special characters also. Okay, it has got huge number of IP addresses. That's about the version 4. If somebody asks you, you have to tell this differences. Now let us study only about the IP version 4. So this IP version 4 further gets classified into two types of IP addresses. So now you understood there are two versions of IP addresses, and now we are studying about two types of IP addresses. Okay, the IP version 4 further gets divided into two types. One is public IP, another one is private IP. Any idea about public IP and private IP? What do you mean by somebody talks about public, and what do you mean by somebody talks about private? Speak up, guys. Any idea? What is your understanding? Guys, what do you mean by public transport? Have you ever heard the word called public transport?
Yes, sir.
What is that public transport means?
Government.
Correct, it is government. But is there any restrictions? Only the class A people or
No,
VIPs
sir.
should go like that?
No, sir.
Yes. Public means it is open to everyone. Public means it is open to everyone. It is everyone's property. Anybody can consume, no matter what religion you are from, no matter what community you are from, no matter whether you are from Karnataka, Andhra, or foreigner. No restrictions at all. Even prime minister can also go. Even a beggar can also use the public transport because it is open to everyone. That is called as public. In our case, when I say public IP, that is accessible over the internet. Anybody can access it. Public means it is an IP address. Public IP means it's an IP address. It is open to internet. It is available over the internet. Anybody can use use that IP address and connect to that IP address. But this IP address is a chargeable IP address. It is not a free IP address. You have to pay for it. If you want to public IP to be purchased, you need to pay to the Airtel or Vodafone or Jio and reserve one IP address to your usage. And if you have a public IP, I can directly connect to your computer by sitting at my home. I don't have to have any kind of connections at all. I can only use my internet connection, and I can talk to the computer of yours, and I can copy the data from your computer, and I can even copy the data from my computer to your computer by sitting at my home if I just have an internet connection. That is about the public IP. So public IP means it is available over the internet. It's a chargeable IP address. It is open to internet. You can have the communication if you just have the internet to communicate. That's all. Then the private IP. What do you mean by private then? You have a private pool.
Personally.
Exactly. Private means it's your own, it's your personal. You have a private property. Maybe you have a farmhouse with swimming pool with lot of play items and all. Will you be available? I mean, will you be allows everyone? Nobody will allow everyone. Correct, huh? That is called as private IP. Means private means it is within your office network. If you have three offices like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, only between these three offices you have the communication. Apart from your office, nowhere you will be able to talk to your network. Correct? And that is called as private IP address. So private IP address means that is having within your office only, and they are the free IP addresses. You don't charge, we don't charge for the private IP address. Imagine for one IP address, if I want to pay 2000 rupees per month, imagine a companies like Meta, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Accenture, IBM, Cognizant, they have lakhs together of employees. One employee 2000 rupees monthly means for the IP addresses, they have to shut their office and go. Correct na? That is the scenario. That is why, and moreover, that is not about the money, about the security. If I expose your office network to the internet world, anybody can penetrate your network, anybody can give virus and ask the ransoms, anybody can track the take your data, and interruption can be possible. Correct na? For the office network. That is why, to make it secure, make the environment secure, we will use the private IP addresses. So this private IP further gets classified into classes. Okay, there are 5 classes of IP addresses. Okay, so there are 5 classes of IP address. See, the IP address means there are two versions of IP address: IPv4 and IPv6. And IPv4 further gets classified into public IP and private IP, and this private IP further gets classified into classes of IP address. There are 5 classes of IP addresses. There are 5 classes of IP addresses. I'll discuss in the next slide. Now you have curiosity. Now how will an IP address looks like? Now you understood about little bit about the IP addresses. Correct now? Your mind is not blank now. You have some information filled in there. Now let us see how when IP version 4, the Internet Protocol version 4 IP address looks like. Or what is it? I told you IPv4 is a 32-bit logical address. It has got 4 octets. What do you mean by a bit, guys? Any idea about bit? Bits and pieces, we will call it as bits. What do you mean by bit?
Binary digits.
Exactly. Bits means binary digits. Binary means it is only zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. Will a computer understand numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
No, sir.
Computer will not understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, and also the numerical alphabets, strings. Strings means characters. Correct na? Computer never understand these numbers. Computer will only understand zeros and ones. So what we have done, we have calculated a number which is of a 32-bit. 32-bit means, bit means 1, guys. Bit means 1. 1 is a bit. This is a bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, this is 8-bit, 8-bit, 8-bit. So there are total 32 bits. Okay, so now we are trying to understand what is an IP version 4. The protocol, I told you, it's a 32-bit logical address. It has got 4 octets in it. And I told you computer never understand the numbers, computer never understand the strings or characters. Computer will only understand the binaries, zeros and ones. Binaries are nothing but zeros and ones. Now, since I told you the 32-bit logical address, I'm going to write here what is this 32-bit means. See here, I have written a number 192.168.30.240. Okay, if you look at this number is a numerical value. Correct? It's a numerical number 192, 168, 30, 39, and 240. This number now in the IP version 4, this number between the dots will always vary between 1 and 255. If the number exceeds 255, if you are writing 256, that is not an invalid number. Why I am telling you like this? Because if you calculate the value, okay, for this 1 octet, the 32-bit, out of 32-bit, 8 octet is the 1 octet is 8 bits. If I calculate this binary to the numerical value, I will get the number 255 only. See, there is a formula. Let me write it here. there is a formula. Okay, the formula is 2 to the power of n minus 1 to convert a binary to the numerical value. Imagine you have this 192. You want to how this 192 will be converted. The computer will convert this 192 to binary, and then it will read what is this number, like that. Say for example, I want to write this 192 to the binary. Let me take 192. 192 means there are 8 octates. Sorry, for 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I told 2 to the power of n minus 1. Now you put 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 5, 2 to the power of 6, 2 to the power of 7, and 2 to the power of 8. Now, if you write this number to the value, you see here, your number is 2 to the power of 1 means it is 1 only. Okay, this is the this is 2 to the power of 2, this is 4, this is 8, this is 16, this is 32, this is 128. So this is, I think this one is 128, 120. 1 minute, I think this is wrong. This is 2 to the power of 0 should start. One, any question? Banu, any question?
That is what, sir. 2 to the power 0 is 1.
Yeah, it is 1. Yeah, so it is 1. 1 minute. So okay, this is 1. Okay, let me write code this here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 4, this is 8, this is 16, and this is 32, this is 64, and this is 128. If you add all these values, right, it will become 256. If you add all this value, it will become 256, and my formula is 2 to the power of n minus 1. So 2 to the power of n is 256. If you minus 1, it will become 255, and that is the reason I told you the number will be vary between 1 and 255. Now if I want to convert this 192 to binary number, if you see 192, you add any numbers, whatever numbers gives you 192, then you are done. Okay, 192 I wanted to add now. Say for example, if I add 192, let me put 128 plus 4, 132 plus 6, 192. See here, if you add 128 and 64, you will get 192. Then what you have to do in this place, 192 means it is 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 0. This is your binary number. The computer will convert this 192 to binary value, and then it will make you, it will connect, it will read the, no, I mean it will make the connection. Understood? You don't need to know this one, but if somebody asks you how this number to 1 to 255 comes, you need to know it. Okay, is it clear, guys? Anita,
Yes.
Avinash, I know Banu you are understood, but the pupils who
It's
are
answer, sir.
understood, right? Yes, the
Sir.
basics are very very important. Okay, please feel free to ask if you have any questions. Okay, so now you know logical address means what. 32-bit means what? 32-bit means, see here, this is only 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. You see I have written 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, and there are 4 octet. This is one octet, first octet, second octet, third octet, fourth octet. Each and every octets are segregated by a value called dot. Dot means it is root. Okay, and if you convert 8 bits, you can I mean you can I mean if you calculate the value for 8 bits, the total it will become, according to the formula 2 power n minus 1, it will become 255. That is the reason an address will be always vary between 1 to 255. Anything that is more than 255, it is an invalid IP address. That is not an IP address at all. Okay, that's all. So shall I move on? Yep. Now let us understand the classes of IP addresses. Okay, so I told you the IP address, IP version 4, the private address, whether the private or public address, the IP version 4 have 4 classes, the 5 classes. One is class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. There are 5 classes: class A, B, C, D, and E. And if you look at class A, B, C, only the first three classes I've written it as can be used. See here, these can be used. But these cannot be used because these are kept for a dedicated purposes. Maybe this multicasting and research, maybe the developer who will work on the IP enhancement, right, they will just use this for the multicasting and the research purposes. Civilians, normal users cannot be used this IP address. Okay, any number that is starting with 224 to 255 we cannot use. Now let us understand what is this class is about. I was talking about the IP address, and I told you the IP address has got 4 octet, correct na? Say for example 192.168.1.10. This is my first octet, this is my second octet, this is my third octet, this is my fourth octet. So the class of the IP address will be depend upon only the first octet. See, with this understanding, if you look at this number, the class here tells you if the IP address that is begin, the first octet is begin between 1 to 126. That is called as class A IP address. See, I told you the class of the IP address will be decided based on the first octet. If the first octet is starting between 1 to 126, then that is called as a class A IP address. Then, if you look at class B, the continuity is there. It is 128. The number, if the number start from 128 and it between vary between 191, that is called as class B. Okay. Then if the number that is begin with 192 up to 223 here, okay, this number, that is called as class C. That is called as class C. Okay. Now if you look at one number is missing, continuity is not there, 1 to 126 is there. After 126 I have written as 128, but 128 to 191 continuity is there, 191 to 192 continuity is there, 192 to 223 continuity is there, but 223 to 224, 224 to 239, 239 to 240, everywhere the continuity is there, but except the class B, which is 127. See, this 127 is not there. Why 127 is not there? 127 is kept for the loopback adapter IP address. Means the people who have developed the IP address, they wanted to know a mechanism. How can I check whether my computer network interface is healthy or not? They have done one thing. They have made some programming. When you try to ping 127.0.0.1 or any number that start with 127, that will check the health of the network interface card of your computer. Now just tell me one number with start with 127, any IP address that, but that should start with number 127. Tell me one number. I just need to know an IP address that is begin with 127, okay, and that should be a class, I mean private, I mean version 4 IP address. Tell me.
127 dot
127 dot
68
68
dot
10
dot
dot
3.
3. See, he just told you, Ganesh told you as this is the IP address 127.68.10.3, and he has told a very beautiful IP address because you see I told you I told him to start with 127. He told 127, and he considered that this number should vary between 1 to 255. Any number he would have given, but he has given 68 just to be safer side. Third octet also same. It is the number is vary between 1 to 255, and the third number is also vary between 1 to 255. Okay, so it's a valid IP address, and you see we are getting the response here. The response is coming from the network interface card. Since we are getting the network interface card response, we are considering this as a healthy network interface card. Now if you see, instead of 68, if you put 258, and if I put 10 dot and then 3, see what it's telling, Ping request could not find the host 127.258.10.3. Means if he would have told this kind of a wrong one, I mean if, anything that is more than 255, I would have got this one. Okay, I think now he has got a good understanding. So that is about the IP addresses. See, this is very very important. Any interview you go, definitely these questions will be asked. How many classes of IP address we have, and what is the difference between private IP and public IP, and can you please tell the range of the IP addresses, the classes. Okay, now I will write, maybe in the next page I'll write some of the IP addresses, and I want you to answer what in multiple. I mean, you have to tell whether the IP address is a private IP or a public. I mean, what class of the IP address, whether it's a private or a public IP address, or whether it is a valid or invalid IP address. In the next slide, I will tell you. Okay. So identify the class of an IP address. Okay, now you tell me which class this IP address belongs to. Okay, let me write some of the IP addresses here. I'm writing some IP address. You need to tell me what is this class is about. But to make it simple, I will only write the range here. 1 to 126 is class A. 128 to 191 it is B. 192 to 223. Okay, C. 224 to 239 is D. 240 to 255 it is E. But I will tell you some IP addresses, right? Some IP addresses, and you need to tell me whether it is a public, I mean, whether it is a valid IP, which class of IP address it is. Okay. Now let me start. 172.168.1.10. What class it is?
Class B.
Yep.
B.
Whether it is a valid IP or invalid IP.
Valid.
Yes. You need to tell class and valid or invalid. Okay. These two things you need to tell. Now I'm writing 1.2.3.4.
Class A valid.
Okay. Now I will write 4.3.2.1.
It is also
Class A.
Okay. Now I will write 1.128.192.224.
an invalid.
Class A invalid.
Why it is invalid? Do you
Uh,
have any number which is more than 255 here?
255
No,
is
sir.
not clear, but class is
It's a valid IP only, na? See, I told you only if the number is more than 255. See, the number should be between 1 and 255. And you need to consider only the first octet to decide the class of the IP address. So the one is belongs to 1 to 126, it is class A, and 1 to 255, all the numbers vary between 1 to 255, then it is valid. Correct, na? Now one more thing. 195 dot 195 dot 195 dot 195. What is this?
Class C valid.
It is class C valid IP address. Now I will write one more thing. 1 dot 255 dot 255 dot 255. What is this?
it is also
Class
class
A is
Class
class
A valid.
Yeah. Now one more thing. 230 dot 1 dot 255 dot 224. What is this?
Class
Class
B
B
valid.
valid.
Exactly. See, if you
Class B.
know, yeah, if you know, if you know how to decide whether an IP address is a which class and whether it is a valid or invalid IP address, okay, then you are good. That is what I am expecting you in this class. Okay. So now I will write one more thing. 1 dot sorry 172 dot 16 dot 259 dot 128. What is this?
class
Class B invalid.
Exactly, that is important. And I will tell you one more. This is very very important. Okay. So 172 dot 16 dot 239.0. What is this?
Class C invalid.
Is it invalid?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
How?
sir.
Yes, sir.
How?
0.
It is not in the any class.
No, no. I told you the number should be vary between 1 to 255.
255.
It is valid.
Yes.
I never told you if you put 0, it is invalid. So 0 is not a number. Is it 0 is a number?
Yes,
Is
sir.
0 is a number?
Yes, sir.
It's null, no? 0 is not a number, it's a null. Okay, see, I'll tell you one more thing. See, when you have 1 and 0, this is a number. But simply write 0, this is not a number. Number should be like 1 to 9. Okay, but here, if you write the 0 at the end, that is not an IP address, that is a network ID. Say for example, in your office you have this IP address like 172.16.1.10. If somebody asks you, can you please write the network ID of your internet, network ID of your address, you have to tell all the three numbers same dot 16 dot 1 dot, but last 10 is there, no, that you need to write it at 0. That is your network ID. If somebody asks you what is your network ID, you just have to write all the three numbers beginning, the last number should be 0. That is called as network ID. Clear? If you put 0 at the end, that is a network ID, but that is not an IP address. 100% sure. That is not an IP address, but that's a network ID. That represents your network. Then you can tell, if somebody asks you, can you please tell me what is the first IP and what is the last IP in this range? You can tell my first IP address is 172.116.1.1. Second is 1.2, 1.3 is third, 1.4 up to it goes up to 1.255. So total how many addresses are there? 255 addresses are there. Okay, that is what the understanding and the takeaway of this slide. So let me come back here. So this is clear, I guess. Shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So now, sir, then why do we need have the segregation? You may ask a question, sir. Why do I need, or why people have divided this to multiple classes? Why can't why would have not used as a single class? So there is a logic behind it. See this, each and every classes. Now each and every class, especially I told you we are using 1, 2, 3 class A, B, C only for the, we are using right now D and E we cannot use. So, since taking that understanding, you see each and every computer, the class B, ABC has got that 4 octet are there, na? 1 octet, this one, like, say for example, 192.168.1.10. So it has got 4 octet. If you see here, that class A, the first octet for the N. N means it is network. H means host bit. N means network bits. H represents number of computer, N represents number of network. Okay, and N always network bit represent by 1 and host bit represent by 0. Network means it is 1, host means it is 0. Okay, now considering this understanding, you see here in the class A, I have mentioned first octet as N and remaining octet as H, H, H. Means you can use this octet, this octet, this octet. Total out of 32 bit, you can use 24 bit for the network. I mean, for only, see this only 24 bits for the host, only 1 8 bit for the network. Means if you need more number of computers and less number of networks, then you should always go with the network, the class A addresses. Imagine you have Microsoft Office entire world. Correct. Many countries we have the Microsoft Office, and each and every Microsoft Office you have lakhs together of employees. Means you need lakhs together of addresses, IP addresses. Correct. Now, but not the network. If you look at in India, we only have 2 3 offices, only Microsoft offices. Hyderabad we have, Bangalore we have, and I think Delhi also we have. Pune I'm not sure. Okay, 2 3 offices only, or maximum 5 offices are there in India. So only 5 network is enough here. But computers are need more. That is why we should always go with class A. But if you see, if you look at the class B, it is equal. You don't know how your business grows. Okay, you wanted to have small offices, and also in the offices you don't have much users, maybe 100, 200, 300 users are there, or like that. If you have, then you would go with the class B. When they use a class C, right? Class C means you have more number of networks, less number of hosts. I will give you a better example. You have this Vodafone, Airtel outlets. Every area in your area you have one outlet. Correct? Huh? Airtel offices everywhere, every area. In Bangalore only more than 12,000 something Airtel offices are there. So if you go to Airtel offices, they have their own network. Correct? Huh? Inside the office, only 2 to 3 or maximum 4 users will be there. 4 computers or 5 computers will be there. So in that scenario, they have more number of offices, they need more number of networks and less number of computer. That's why it is H host. So here you see class C, when you need more number of network, less number of computer, can be used class C. Class A, when you have less number of network, more number of host required or the computer required. Class B, when you have balanced kind of things. Okay, that is the network ID identification. Okay, this, and I was talking about the network ID. See here, if you consider this as an IP address 115.10.0.15, it's a class A IP address. First octet reserved for the network bit. Okay, see, first octet is reserved for the network bit and remaining are host bit. That's why I told you the network ID. See here, since if you put all the eights, I mean zeros, I mean if you put one here in the first octet, 1 it is 255 only na. That is why they are asking network bit represents 1, that is why I am carrying the number. But if you put 0 here, if you put 0, 0 plus 0 plus 0, it is 0 only. Correct? That is your network bit, network IDC, network ID of the IP address. So class B means 2 octet. This is also network, this is also network. Then it is 1100. See here, 192.168.10.1. By looking at the number, okay, you need to do, if it is a class A IP address, you just have to write the first octet like that and remaining is 0. If you look at the class B, 2 or n, then you have to write 192.168. like that, and this is class C. 192 is class C. Okay, the first 3 numbers you have to write like that, and the last number should be written 0. Say for example here, if you write 10.1.2.3, if somebody asks me to write the network ID for this one, this is a class A, right? Means first octet is 1, remaining is 0. Correct? Now I'll just carry this 10.0.0.0. If I write like class B 172.16.1.10, class B means 2 octet or n, means 2 ones. So I have to carry 172.16. Remaining 2 octet is 0. If I write class B like 193.211.1.10, this is class B, means first 3 octet for network. So what you have to do, 193.211.1.0, this is your network ID. Means basically number of octets and number of hosts, I mean number of network and number of hosts is depend upon the classes. So based on the classes and based on that you will write the network ID. Clear? Is it clear? Any confusions here? Another 5 minutes at close. And you see there are some IP addresses, and I told you, right, when I was explaining the IP, public IP and private IP, I told you public IP means it is a chargeable IP address. Then how will I know which IP I should use? Because I want to reduce the cost, and moreover I need to increase the security of the office. Correct na? So that is the reason knowing what is my class, I mean private IP address and public IP is very important. So when they are designing the IP addresses, right, they have given one IP addresses in each class for the private usage. If you see here in the class A, if an IP address that is start with 10, that is called as a private IP address. In the class B, if you write like 172.16.0.0, that is private. If instead of 16, if you write 172.17, it is not a private. It is not a private. It is a public IP address. Okay. So let me write now 192.168.0.0. Okay. If you want to write a class C private IP address, this is the range. So class B is this is the range. So basically you need to remember 10, 172 and 192. These two numbers. If an IP address that is begin with these three numbers, that is called as private. If an IP address that is starting with apart from these three numbers, then that is a public network, public IP address. Very simple. Okay. So now let me write couple of IP address. You need to tell me whether it is a private or a public IP address. Okay. So let me write the ranges here. One is 10. One is 10. Another one is 172. Another one is 192. These are the three numbers. Okay. The private ranges. Now you see, I will write some numbers, IP addresses, and you have to tell me whether they are public or private. So I will write 10 dot 1 dot 2 dot 3. What kind of IP address it is?
Private.
172 dot 168 dot 1 dot 10. It is what?
Private.
Okay.
Private.
Then 192.168.1.1.
Private.
Private.
Now I will write 1.2.3.4.
Public.
11.13.15.16. Public only. Okay. 193.191.1.201.
Public.
Public. So basically, if you write any IP address apart from these three numbers, you consider them as the public IP address. If an IP address that is begin with 10, 172 and 192, you can straight away close your eyes and write it's a private IP address. Okay. The same thing I have explained here also. Okay. Now, next one is the subnetting. Any idea what I mean by subnetting? Subnetting, any idea?
No, sir.
So subnetting is nothing but the process of dividing large number of network into smaller network. Say for example, you have maybe 1 acre of land. Your father has got 1 acre of land, and you are two peoples. What your father will do? He will exactly divide this into, and he will give one piece for you guys. Means he will divide this and he will divide it and give it to you for your usage and for your brother usage. Correct? Na? Similarly, when you have a when you have less number of IP addresses, and if you don't want to waste the IP addresses, say for example here I am writing this, I have this is the range. Okay, 172.16.0.0/24. So /24 means, you see here, /24 means you will have only the 254 IP address. See here, this is /24. Okay, because 24 bits goes to the network, only 8 bits will be for the computers. Correct? Na? So this ADR value, whatever we are calling it, this is only the network bit we are talking about. So we are giving 24 bits for the network, only 8 bits for the host. Means only 254 IP address can be used here. So imagine you are only having 254 IP addresses, but you have 3 offices or 2 offices here. Say for example, okay, let me go back here and write it here. So imagine you have a small office here, and you have a router. So router interfaces, then are these interfaces. So router means what? Any idea what you mean by router? Router means it is an intelligent device, network device. So what it will do, it will help you to establish the connection between two different networks. Means two different network means I have one network and you are having one network. In order to have the connection between your network and my network, in between you should definitely have a router. Without the router you will not be able to connection at all. So what router expects? Router expects both the range, I mean both the interfaces, different network. So what we will do, but you have only one IP address 172.16.0.0/24. Only 254 IP addresses are there. So what you can do, if you look at this one, the slide, if you look at this slide, 254 means it is 24 means it is 254. So what you can do, sorry. So what you can do, instead of 254, you can go with /26 and /25. Means /26 means it is 64 IP addresses or 62 IP addresses, and 126 means 25 means it is 126 IP addresses. What you can write here, you can write the number like 172.16.0.2062 sorry, 126 it is 120 for 62. Sorry, it is 126 and write /25. Then you write one more like 172.16.0/126 plus 6 132 plus 60 192. You write 192/26. So this router will consider this as a separate network, this as a separate network. Why? Because you had a /24 network, and this /24 network, this 255 IP address, you have divided into separate classes or separate subnets. What is that? One is /25, another one is /26. So the router will consider this as a separate network because you have made /25. So router consider this as a separate network because you made /26. Okay, that is what I was explaining you there, 25 and 26. Okay, so with this what you are achieving, with this you are just using one bigger subnet into small subnets. That's all. Okay, that is about subnetting. So now since the router consider this both as a separate network, and in our example we will be able to establish the connection here. What is this? Maybe this will be there 172.16.1.126/25, and this is 172.16.1.192/26. Okay, so this as a separate network, this as a separate network. Here the first IP address start from 172.16.1.127. Okay, here the first IP start from 172.16.1.1 to 126. Here 1.127 to 192. Okay, this is how the subnetting works. So this is all actually whatever I taught you today, everything is the CCNA concept only, the networking concept, and we are not dealing with this one. Just to give you the basic, the foundation properly, to lay the foundation, I'm explaining all these things. Okay, otherwise you don't need to know everything, all these things, but you should know only that. You should know one thing, that is the IP address, the private, public, all those things. Okay, with this, I think we are done with the IP addresses. Let me stop the recording.